I thought I was making the right decision when I left my husband at the start of summer. The idea of freedom, adventure, and rediscover myself sounded like everything I needed. I convinced myself I had been trapped in routine, missing out on life. So I packed my bags, gave a vague explanation, and walked away from the man who had loved me unconditionally for 7 years. At that moment, I believed I was chasing happiness. Summer started like a dream. I traveled, went to beach parties, met new people, and indulged in things I hadn't done since my early 20s. Every sunset felt like a victory. My social media was full of smiles, cocktails, and laughter. Friends I hadn't seen in years called me brave and inspiring for choosing myself. I was proud until the novelty began to fade. Eventually, the excitement turned into emptiness. The strangers I danced with were forgettable. The late nights left me more tired than thrilled. I began to feel like an outsider in my own story. I missed the quiet mornings with my husband, our inside jokes, his coffee that always tasted better than any cafes. I missed feeling understood without needing to speak. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was normal to miss someone after such a big change. But soon that dull ache became unbearable. I started scrolling through our old photos. I reread our texts, the ones where he told me he believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. I realized then that I had mistaken peace for boredom and love for routine. One rainy night in August, I finally texted him, just a simple hi. There was no reply. The next morning, I sent a longer message apologizing for leaving so suddenly, explaining that I was confused and thought I needed space. Still nothing. I called, and it went to voicemail. I tried again the next day, and the day after that. By the second week of silence, I felt desperation creeping in. I emailed him, poured out my heart in paragraphs. I told him how I was wrong, how I missed him, how I now understood what real love looked like. Days passed. No reply. It was as if I never existed in his world anymore. And perhaps that was his way of protecting himself. I began to hear from mutual friends. Some were kind, saying he was deeply hurt. Others were blunt, telling me he had changed his number and wasn't interested in speaking to me again. Apparently, he had started going to the gym, picked up painting again, and was spending time with his sister's kids. He was healing, and I wasn't part of that process. There was a strange pain in realizing that someone could start to move on without you. I always assumed he'd be waiting like a bookmark in a chapter one could return to whenever I wanted. I never considered that he might find strength in my absence, that he might decide he deserved better. Now I spend my evenings replaying everything I said when I left. How cold and selfish I must have sounded. I told him not to wait for me, but I didn't think he actually wouldn't. I thought love was some elastic band you could stretch and expect to snap back into place. But some things, once broken, stay that way. Every time my phone vibrates, I hope it's him. It never is. I've stopped going out. The same friends who cheer me on during my fun summer have faded away. My apartment feels hollow. My freedom has turned into a prison I built with my own hands. I don't know if he's met someone else. The thought kills me, but I know I don't have a right to ask. I left. I was the one who walked away believing I could find better. But the truth is, better was the man I left behind. He wasn't perfect, but he was good, steady, real. I write him letters I never send. I replay our favorite songs and imagine dancing with him in the living room. I wonder if he ever thinks of me. But deep down I know he probably doesn't. Not anymore. And maybe that's what I truly deserve. Regret is a silent punishment. It creeps in when the world is quiet and reminds you of what you've lost. I wanted a fun summer, and I got it. But it cost me the one thing that was real. And now, no matter how many times I say sorry, he won't reply,